Hello, this is Alan Kingsley in the Academic Success and Retention Office at Post University. Welcome to the MBA Program Orientation. Tonight's agenda, we're going to talk a little bit about the staff in the graduate program and for the MBA, a little bit about the curriculum and a typical course load, how to navigate Blackboard, some of the resources and support services available to you, some helpful hints about being a graduate student at Post, some of the policies and procedures of the university, and some time for questions and answers. The Malcolm Baldrige School of Business is the school within Post University that contains the MBA. Our dean is Dr. Jeremy Bauer, and our assistant dean is Dr. Elisa Hunt. She specifically oversees grad studies. In the Baldrige School, we have 4 program chairs in the MBA. Dr. Stephen Onu, who oversees project management, Dr. Majo Jacinto, who oversees our Masters in Accounting and any of the mathier courses in the MBA, and then Dr. Jim Loughran and Dr. Niccolo Priato, who split the remaining MBA courses. There are 2 MBA advisors. That's Emily Castle and Alan Kingsley, that's me. We each handle about half of the course load for our MBA program, advising different students, helping you get registered for classes, answering any questions you have about the university. And we are overseen by Trudy Hope, who is our Assistant Director for Graduate Studies in Academic Success and Retention. She also oversees some MBA students as well. So the academic advisor role, this is really about who I am and Emily, what we do here. Okay, our primary contact is the number that's red here on your screen, 1-800-660-6615. This is the general line for the enrollment office. What that really means is you're going to call that number, and the system is going to look up your file. It's going to see who works with you. So if I'm your advisor, it's going to immediately see that I am your academic advisor. It's going to try and route you to me. There are 2 other names, the admissions counselor who helped get you through the door, and your financial aid advisor. So the system is going to look for one of the 3 of us to spit you out so you can talk with one of your people. If all 3 of us are unavailable, it's instead going to reroute you to another member of the graduate team or possibly another member of the advising team at large. So that way, anytime you call in, you're talking to somebody. Most of the time, though, you are going to end up getting Emily or your admissions counselor or financial aid advisor or me. Our role here is to help make course suggestions for you, help plan out your schedule, make sure that you know in advance what your roadmap is from the beginning of the MBA to the end. We're going to be monitoring your academic progress, calling to check in, make sure things are going okay in class. We're going to be giving you degree plans and doing some degree planning with you, helping you figure out what you want to do in terms of a concentration or what order you want to take your classes in. We can help you with login and password info. If you ever have any academic concerns about your courses, about instructors, about something going on in class, you need to know about policies, processes, something about the university, you need a form for something, we are probably the right people to come to. We don't handle money, but pretty much everything else is going to cross our desk. So we are usually a good first point of contact when something's going on. We can assist with the registration process, as I mentioned. We can help you navigate Blackboard or our online bookstore, www.postbookstore.com. And again, any forms, paperwork, things like that. If you're not quite sure where to turn, we're a good place to start. So let's talk a little bit about the MBA program itself. If you're entering into the MBA program, you're either, many of our students come to us with an existing undergraduate business degree. So for those students, we are assuming that you have a general business knowledge, things like financial accounting, macroeconomics, principles of finance, business law. Those are the course names at Post in our BS Business Administration. Those are the course IDs for those classes at Post. But any business degree, you're going to have some kind of basic grounding in those ideas. So we're assuming if you're coming to us with a business background, that you've got that knowledge. If you do not come to us with a business background, then we are also going to have you, we have you taken care of as well. There's, of course, Business 502. I'm going to talk about it in a moment. that you'll be starting out in to make sure that you have somewhere to grasp in those, in those basic things. The MBA itself, there are 27 core courses. 27 credits of core courses. That's 9 classes. There are 9 credits of your concentration. That's 3 classes. And then 1 capstone, which is 3 credits. So it's a 39 credit program. Again, 9 cores, 3 concentrations, and 1 capstone. So for a 13 course curriculum. So the curriculum itself, right? What you see on the screen now, these are our cores. Again, it begins with Business 502, the Business Essentials course. If you are coming to us with an existing business degree, you do not need to take this course. You will know this in advance. It's not something that you have to decide. Part of the admissions process is determining whether or not you need to take this Business Essentials class. If you do not need it, because you've come to us with a business degree already, then you're going to get credit for this class. So you're already 1 class down, 3 credits closer towards graduation. But if you don't have a business degree, if you have, for example, my bachelor's degree is in English literature. So if I were to start the MBA program, I'm starting in Business Essentials because we want to make sure that you have the sort of the background knowledge that you need, the basics that you need, those essential items to be successful here. Once you finish Business Essentials, or if you skip Business Essentials, you're most likely going to be starting either in Business 505, Organizational Creativity, Discovery, and Innovation, or Business 506, Strategic Integrated Marketing Strategy. Typically, for most of our students, once you've completed one of those courses, the other one is the next course in your curriculum. So a student who starts in 505 right now will take 506 next. If you start out at 506 marketing, you'll probably go next to organizational creativity. It gives usually, I think, a good, both of those classes are good starting places for this program. Give you an idea of how the program runs. They're not going to absolutely overwhelm you with expectations. It's still graduate level work. Let's not kid ourselves. If grad school was easy, everyone would do it. But we generally find that it's a good place for people to kind of get their feet wet and start really getting a handle on what the MBA program looks like. Beyond 502, 505, and 506, we've got 6 other business courses: 515, Organizational Dynamics and Effectiveness; 521, Business Analytics; 522, Financial Tools; 523, Quantitative Analysis; 525, Business Strategy; and 530, Project Management. These core courses in the MBA can be taken in any order. Right? They all run year-round, and although there is a preferred way to take these classes, we can mix and match as we need to. The 522 and 523 classes, strongly encourage, those are kind of meant to be taken in that order, 22 followed by 23. But whether you take business analytics right before it, or you take that, well in advance or way after, all of those things are interchangeable. They run year round. This is part of what we are going to speak with you about. But these are your business core. These are going to give you a little taste of every aspect of the MBA. You're also going to select a concentration. Some students begin the MBA knowing exactly where they want to focus. Some students don't. Both of those things are completely okay. We have 7 concentrations: entrepreneurship, corporate innovation, leadership, finance, marketing, project management, and healthcare. As you can see, each of those 7 concentrations has 3 courses involved. Those are the 3 courses that you're going to complete as part of your concentration. You do not need to take any other courses that I've just run through each in those concentrations. So depending on where you want to focus is going to help us see what classes we put you in as you get closer and closer to the conclusion of your degree. These courses also tend to not run year-round. In fact, I don't believe any of them run year-round anymore. Most of them run twice a year. So once you're a couple courses into your degree, if you don't know where you would like to focus, then you and your advisor, you and Emily or I, are going to have a conversation about where you think you're headed, what you want to do, what's been interesting to you. And that way we can figure out where we are going to where we're going to orient you. We want to make sure when these courses come up that we can plan for them, that we can get you in early, and that we are preparing you properly. If you think you might want project management, let us know that, and we'll be able to put project management in front and center. That basic project management class everyone takes, we can get you into that early, so that way we know. There are also students who will select a multidisciplinary option. Now, multidisciplinary is uncommon. I wouldn't say it's rare, but it is uncommon. This is going to be for students who don't fit in one of those 7 boxes. Multidisciplinary, well, for example, we've had students who want to work in higher ed, but they also understand that education has a business component to it. So they think an MBA is going to be beneficial for them. Those 7 concentrations aren't necessarily going to prepare you in and of themselves for higher education, but you can pluck classes that are going to help you get where you need to go. And we would put you as a multidisciplinary student. So 3 courses totaling 9 credits would make a multidisciplinary concentration. However, a multidisciplinary concentration needs to be not applied for, but you will need to write to the program chair and get an approval ahead of time. This is something you can talk to me about, you can talk to Emily about. Essentially, we want to make sure that you aren't just selecting courses that sound cool. I see the appeal in it, but we want to make sure we're actually preparing you to use this degree in a way that makes sense. All right. This also has to do with your capstone project, which is something we'll talk about much, much later. But your capstone project does have a lot to do with the concentration you select. So we want to make sure that you are drawing from courses that are going to amount to something that's going to, create something you can then lean on when you get to your capstone. The capstone itself, again, Business 700. It is the last course in the program. It is always taken by itself, and it's always the final class. It runs all year round, so no matter when you're finishing up, there's going to be a capstone that starts. We also run a capstone webinar prior to every term that's run by the program chair and has some of the capstone instructors involved, so that way students can get a preview of what the capstone looks like, what kind of project they're going to be working on, and have an opportunity to have some question and answer time with the people in charge. Some of our courses in the MBA are project-based learning courses, or PBL courses. So what is PBL? The Post-University MBA Project-Based Learning Program is a teaching method where students center on a comprehensive organizational problem or opportunity. Students gain knowledge and skills by examining and responding to a realistic and engaging organizational issue. This learning method engages students in their learning through real-world organizational issues. Essentially, this is a chance to apply what you have learned. It can teach critical thinking, leadership, collaboration, research, communication. So what does all that mean? In a project-based learning class, if you've taken classes at Post before, or you've gone through the Post orientation, hopefully you all have, you have a basic idea of what Blackboard looks like and what these courses look like. You have units that run along the left-hand side, unit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You have a discussion board where there is 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 weekly questions. You need to provide answers for the questions by Wednesday. You need to have responses by Sunday. You need to respond X number of times and on X number of days of each week. There are tests, there are quizzes, there are papers that you're going to submit on Sundays. You get back grades to tell you how you're doing. It's a very traditional sort of online course. PBL courses are not that. In a PBL course, you and your classmates are going to be divided up into teams. And you are going to either be given or you're going to select a project to work on. You have 8 weeks to complete that project. Along the way, you'll need to submit pieces of the project. But really, it's going to be up to you how exactly you need to organize in order to get all of this done. You're going to talk among your groups. You're going to have private discussion boards for your groups. You will have private conference rooms for your groups. Rather than having units along the left-hand side and a textbook where you can go jump to chapter 5, you're going to have a research tab. And that's going to allow you access to a lot of different databases and articles and books and everything you're going to need to complete this project, but it isn't going to be laid out in a way where it's all just presented there for the taking. These aren't classes that are about you intaking information and spitting it back out. This is about you researching and applying the information that you find. This is about working as a team with other people. This is about figuring out what roles suit other people best, making sure everyone has something to do in doing it. This is a class where there aren't a lot of graded items. Your final projects that you're turning in week 7 and week 8, that's where the bulk of your grade is going to come from. There are lots of opportunities in the meantime to get feedback from your professor. You may get opportunities that are ungraded for your professor to come look at things. You can ask questions of your professor, and your professor will be watching in those miniature groups how you guys are doing, how you're organizing, how things are working out. But they aren't going to be handing out grades. There'll be a few, but not a ton. I like to think of these more like you working in an office environment, and your boss assigns you a project. Hey, you and your team, get this to me by March. Your boss is going to give you feedback when you ask. They'll be able to pop in and tell you how you're doing, but they aren't going to walk around and say, well, you know, Alan, you're doing C+ work this week. That isn't generally the way an office functions. So your professor is going to be able to give have meeting times with you. They'll be able to look over your work and meet with you as a group to talk about what's working and what's not. They may be able to give you direction as to far, is this meeting standards, or is this fulfilling the criteria that it needs to? But more often than not, they aren't going to give you answers. They are going to ask you questions. It's really going to be about you determining why this works or doesn't, and being able to back up why you think that is. So these are very different kind of courses, and it's something that takes some getting used to. But I think there's a lot that can be mined, and I think students emerge from these courses much more well-rounded and much better able to access some of the higher levels of thinking. Again, it's not just about circling multiple choice answers or being able to spit out the definition of what is a business plan. It's about actually being able to create something. In the past, we've worked with actual local businesses on this. So they've been able to employ post-university and our business students to help them solve problems and come up with ideas. This is the kind of thing that employers want to see. They want to know their employees are capable of. We have an MBA advisory board that meets throughout the year, and this is made up of some of the biggest employers in our tri-state area. And we present to them everything that we do, and we say, how does this MBA look to you guys? Are we teaching what you need to see? Is this stuff up to date? Does this reflect the way that your business is actually run? What observations do you have? What questions do you have? Are we doing a good job? And one of the things we've heard time and time and time again is that employers want to see people who can work in teams, who can work virtually, and who can think critically and apply, and use it dynamically in an office environment. And these classes give you an opportunity to do that. That group work component is essential to our MBA because it's essential in a 21st century workplace. And the project-based learning is kind of a spearhead of that. It's the tip of the spear, I guess. So when the time comes, you will talk more with your advisor about exactly what PBL means and what that looks like for you. But just wanted to give you a heads up about something you're going to encounter that if you've been with Post before, maybe you haven't seen. All right, so moving on. The MBA also offers a study abroad opportunity. This is something that we're very excited to offer. Now, I will say, when I am recording this now in early 2021, travel for 2021 has been canceled. All of our international travel, anything that involves our students or our staff going somewhere, it isn't happening. We're all struggling with this pandemic. Hopefully it is over soon or under control soon in a way that's going to let us resume this. But for those of you just starting out, I hope this is something we're going to be able to offer to you in 2022 and beyond. We have an agreement with the University of Limerick in Limerick, Ireland. And once per year, our MBA students have the ability to travel to the University of Limerick. One of your courses, Business 525, you may have noticed this on the prior slide, business strategy and planning. But once per year, term 6, we offer instead Business 527, a class called Global Business Strategy. Similar class, similar outcomes, meeting similar criteria, but it's got an international focus. And during week 5 of this course, the entire class is going to fly out to Limerick, Ireland. And you get to spend a week at the University of Limerick, learning in their classrooms, meeting local businesses, sort of learning the way that things work outside of the United States. You know, seeing how things, well, seeing what stays the same and what changes when the local laws and norms change. There's some opportunity, plenty of opportunity for study. There is opportunity for sightseeing. There's an opportunity to bring family and spouses, significant others. It's not something everyone gets to do. It's something that just the timing of it, and there is an additional expense that makes it prohibitive for some people. But I have lots of students who've gone on it, and they all come back with glowing responses, glowing, recommendations. It's a lot of fun. It's something different, and really it's just something that I highly encourage everyone to consider doing once it's available. More about that when that time actually comes. Stay tuned for information from your advisors. And again, hopefully starting next year in 2022, we can make that happen for you. But let us know if that's something you think you are interested in doing. We can plan your schedule so we can leave that open. And if we can make it work for you, and this is running again in 2022, we are more than happy to set you up to take an international trip. Okay, so let's talk about your classes and getting into everything. The MYPOST student portal. The best and fastest way to log into anything, and probably the cleanest way too, is simply to go to the student login on www.post.edu, our main page, basic vanilla post.edu. In the top right corner is going to have a student login option. There's an arrow pointing to it on the screen there. And that's going to lead you to a sign-in page. You sign in with your student ID. With your student email address. Sorry about that. With your student email address and your password. This is going to be given to you by your admissions counselor. So you should have an email that comes through from them that gives you that initial login and password. Emily and I, the advising team, we can also help with that. If for some reason you can't get in, we can reset things. So let us know. But that's the best way to get in. It's going to drop you on your home screen for MYPOST. This is an area that's going to allow you access to everything you get as a post-university student. All right, there's an option there to get into Blackboard. You can look at your personal profile with the university. You can view your upcoming schedule. You can register for classes, although often Emily and I will have done that for you. There's an option for your financial profile, a document center where anything that you've submitted to the university or need to submit to the university can be viewed or uploaded. Office 365. This is a free version of Microsoft Office. It's all web-based, but it is absolutely free while you're a post student. It's also where you're going to find access to your student email. All right, everyone's got a student email that reflects, it's your first name dot your last name at students.post.edu. So if I were a student, mine would be alan.kingsley at students.post.edu. And you can find that in the Office 365 tab. So there's a lot you can do through MYPOST. Walk around in it, take a look in it. You can't break anything. Let us know if you have questions. But this is where you're going to find everything that you need to get going every day, including getting into your classes. Again, that Blackboard button, you're going to become very familiar with it. Okay, so navigating Blackboard. When you go to login, and if your login for some reason doesn't transition over from MYPOST into Blackboard, you're going to get that login screen to my right. That student login button will let you in. But in Blackboard, you can access your courses, you can post in discussion boards, email your instructors, you can get to our virtual library, access those resources along with your electronic course materials. There's links to our online bookstore and our student assistance resources, which is known as SOAR, Student Online Assistance Resources. Blackboard itself, if you've gone through our orientation, which again, if you have not, I strongly recommend you do, it's going to teach you all about Blackboard and how to walk around in there. But I want you to take a look at the Student Services tab and the Library tab. Those are two of your best friends if you know how to use them. Under Student Services, you're going to find a lot of different things, links to the bookstore. You can see on the screen there the number for Blackboard tech support. Blackboard it's not a post-university specific software. The Blackboard is a nationwide company, so there are going to be some things that Blackboard itself is going to need to help you through tech support, but we can do a lot through post too. But if you need to go to Blackboard, number is there. The Center for Academic Success, this is going to be the tutoring that we have both on campus and online. We have a writing center that's going to allow you to submit work early to them in order to get feedback or help with something. There's also access to TutorMe. This is 24/7 chat-based online tutoring. TutorMe is a third-party service that we've partnered with. Students get 10 free hours per term for access with, so I always like students to go to our Center for Academic Success that post runs, but TutorMe, if it's 3 in the morning and you're lost, they may be the perfect resource for you. Lots of great results through TutorMe. I strongly encourage people to check them out. The Library tab is the little screenshot on the right there. The Trog Digital Library is where you're going to find access to all the databases, all the articles, all the online books that your class may be using or that you just want to look up if you're feeling bored one weekend. The landing page is going to look like what you see on the right there. The Eagles icon, the Post-University Library eSearch is where you get started. Now that looks like an actual dialog box where you can type into. It's not, it's a link. You're going to click on it and it's going to jump you into the library and allow you to actually type in everything that you want to type in. But the eSearch is what's going to find you your books. Below the eSearch, and this is really the thing that I want to highlight because most people miss it. If you scroll down, once you're in the library, you are going to find a laundry list of links. Under the Malcolm Baldrige School of Business, you're going to find all the different databases that we run, EBSCOhost, Business Education Online, IBIS World. There's a bunch. But there are two that I'm highlighting here. Academic Writer, used to be known as APA Style Central. APA is the formatting that we use in all of our papers, all of your assignments need to be in APA format. It's something you'll get used to pretty quickly, I think, but it is still something students struggle with. Academic Writer is a resource that's going to help make sure that your APA is perfect every time. The Center for Academic Success can be a big help with APA, but Academic Writer is a great first option just to try and get some immediate information and some immediate help. Below it is something called Grammarly Premium. Grammarly is a free service for students at the university. This is all part of what you're paying for. I say free, but you're paying tuition. This is part of your tuition. You're paying for this already. So Grammarly is a fantastic resource. I use it every day. My colleagues use it every day. I encourage all of my students to use it every day. You can install it on your computer, and it works kind of like the spell checker that you know from Microsoft Word, but it's going to do it. It's going to apply it to everything. So it's got a wonderful spell check. It's got a great grammar check to let you know whether your sentences are making sense. I find them to be absolutely indispensable. I'm an English teacher by trade. I'm something, I tend to think that I have a decent writing style, but Grammarly is always going to make sure that I sound like a professional. I'm always happy to talk to my students about that, Emily, and I can fill you in more there too. But take a look at those links, Academic Writer and Grammarly Premium especially. There's some great stuff there. Okay, we are getting close to wrapping up here. Resources, just generally speaking, your academic success counselor, that's me, that's Emily, that's Trudy. That main number, again, is where you're going to get a hold of us. Your instructors, a lot of students are afraid to contact their instructors. They're concerned that they're going to look dumb. They're intimidated by their instructors. These are classes that, although you may see some videos and things like that, this isn't an instructor. You can't go in and shake their hand. You can't look them in the eye. You're not going to get to know their personality that way. And so students get intimidated. Your instructors want to see you succeed. They want to help. They're here to help. Reach out to them. Make friends with them. Ask them questions. The program director and the program chairs and the deans. It's not on there, but the deans too. They're very friendly. They're very student focused. I have contact information on the previous slide for everybody there. They're always happy to talk. Emily or I am happy to facilitate something. If you want to put something together, get you guys in contact. But if you ever have questions or you want to talk about the program or anything that you have concerns about, they're always happy to speak with you. Our Center for Academic Success, as I mentioned, Writing Center at post.edu is a good point of contact for them, but they do a lot. They're in that Student Services tab. It's a great way to proactively make sure that you are as successful as possible. TutorMe, as I mentioned, also available through Student Services. TUTORING Library, library at post.edu. We have a team of very knowledgeable and very well-trained librarians that are going to be able to help you if you're having difficulty accessing something or finding something in the library. Emily and I can help as well, but just as often, we are going to library at post.edu for some support. So you can cut us out and go right to the librarians in TUTORING. Post University Bookstore, www.postbookstore.com. Most of our courses in the MBA have ebooks. All the 500 level courses for sure have ebooks. So you don't need to buy a thing. When you log into your course, it's all right there under course information. You can click through and get all of your reading materials for the term. Some of our courses, though, are going to require a little bit extra. Sometimes this is because the publisher doesn't offer an ebook version or they have weird stipulations on their ebooks. It can vary from place to place. It's a very tricky kind of world that we don't like to have to involve the students in if we don't need to. But some of our courses, when you get up into the higher levels, are going to require physical book purchases. You're going to get a reminder from your instructors, from the advising office at large, from me, from Emily. You're going to hear about it when it opens every term. The Post Bookstore is always a place you want to check before class starts. It's going to tell you whether or not there's anything that you need in this class coming up. Center for Career and Professional Development, I haven't talked about them yet, but that's a place where I try to send students often, especially at the end of their degree. But if you are looking for work, if you're looking for an internship, if you need some assistance buffing up your resume, if you want to work on interview skills, we have a team of people that are here to help you make the most of your opportunities. You know, you're getting a good education. You are putting yourself in an elite class of people who have a master's degree. And we want to make sure that you really shine. So our people at the Center for Career and Professional Development are going to help make sure that you are as prepared as possible and that you have access to as many different opportunities as possible. So you can check them out, post.edu/career services. You can also ask one of us here in the advising office. We'd be more than happy to put you in touch. On your fellow classmates. Again, in a traditional classroom, you get to know the people you sit around. You get to work in groups. You get to say hi. You have chatter before and after class. You're not going to find exactly that in online courses, but you are going to start seeing the same classmates appear again and again. You're going to be working together a lot. You're going to be being put in, again, though, it's going to be group work involved. There's going to be discussion boards every week. You're going to start to know who these people are. And you're going to find that a lot of them have something in common with you. So I always encourage everybody, from a purely professional standpoint for networking, but even just from a social standpoint, I definitely have students who have become friends over their time through the MBA. Students who find out that they live locally, they go and meet at the diner. Students who never get to meet each other until graduation, and then one of them is here in Connecticut and the other one flies in from Arizona, and you finally get to meet on graduation day. It's a pretty special opportunity. And you're going to find there's a lot of people that you'll be happy that you met. And so don't be afraid to talk to them. Don't be afraid to ask them. And, leave yourself open if they come and ask you. Okay, a couple of tips. First thing, you want to be maintaining a cumulative 3.0 GPA or better in this program. In order to be in good academic standing in the graduate program at Post University, you must have a 3.0 GPA. That equates to approximately a B. Not approximately. That equates to a B average. Now, a passing grade in your class is a C minus, a 70 or better in the grad school. A D is not passing in grad school. So a C or better, a C minus or better. Excuse me, getting tongue-tied. A C minus or better is a passing grade. But overall, you want your cumulative GPA to be a B. So if you take your first class and you get a C, you take your second class and you get an A, that's going to average out to a B, and you're just fine. You're going to be reviewed for your progress every other term, so every 2 terms. The registrar is going to take a look at you. to see how you're doing. At that point, you're going to want to have a 3.0 GPA. And this is rather in the screen here, but you're going to want to be passing 67% of your classes. So just over 2/3 of the classes you attempt, you want to have a passing grade. So no failing grades, no withdrawals. If you aren't meeting either of those criteria, either the 3.0 or the 67% pace, you're going to get placed on academic warning. Generally speaking, that's going to mean that you're going to meet with me or with Emily on a weekly basis. We have a little phone conversation just to see how things are going in class, helping head off any opportunities, pointing out any opportunities or heading off any issues that may be coming up. We have academic progress specialists who are going to be watching to make sure that you're doing okay. This is all about making sure that we're giving you every opportunity to be successful. At the end of 2 terms, your warning status is going to get re-reviewed to see if you've improved. And we're going to have a plan in place well in advance of this. By the time we get to that final moment of getting re-reviewed, you're going to know how you're doing, whether you're succeeding or not. But 3.0 GPA, that's always going to be your bar. There's nothing wrong with a C. It happens to all of us. But you don't want to have too many. You want to make sure that if you see yourself heading down that road that you ask for help, because the 3.0 is your gold standard. If you get to the end of your degree and you've passed all 13 classes, but you haven't hit that 3.0, we've got to get you there. It means retaking courses. We don't want that to happen. So right out the gate, every point counts, and make sure that you are scrappy for every one of them. And Emily and I are here to help that. Again, we are your student advocate at the university. So maintain a minimum Blackboard login of 4 times per week. That is a best practice. Sometimes it's required in your classes. They want to see 4 different days of participation on the discussion board, but just as a best practice, check in frequently. The conversations, especially at the grad level, your discussion board conversations are going to evolve over the course of days. There's a basic question. It's kind of a jumping off point that everyone gets started on. But what you guys are posting about on Monday is probably going to evolve as people respond and as the discussion, sort of takes a life of its own. So by Wednesday, you might be talking about something different. By Friday, that thread of the conversation may have died. Now there's something else that people are jumping on to talk about. It's a very different, in my experience, a very different sort of conversation than you see at an undergrad level. And so being on top of it, being present, being able to react when these new ideas and new curves come up in the conversation. Take note of those minimum postings per instructor. Again, generally speaking, 4 is a good pace to keep up. But see what your instructor wants. Right, every instructor is different. All the program chairs are different. There's a general unifying set of policies that work without all throughout the MBA. But everyone's got their quirks. Everyone's got their preferences. Make sure you know what your instructors are. Lots of white space, big bold type. Understand the importance of discussion boards. These are real-time class discussions. They're an important part of your grade in most classes. Critical thinking and active participation are essential. And that's really just what I've been saying above, so I'm not going to belabor the point. But this is your opportunity to show that you're thinking, that you're reading, that you're understanding the material that you've been reading. You may have to read 6 chapters a week, and if you take a test, the test isn't going to be on every single aspect of all 6 chapters, but you can still employ that stuff in the discussion boards to show that you read it, you know it, you get it, and you can make the connections between weeks, even between courses, and that's going to make you stand out. All right, next up, make time for graduate work. Review new courses and objectives early. Let me know if you'd like a sample syllabus before classes begin. I can get those to you. Now, our classes are redesigned periodically. They go through changes. There are tweaks. Different instructors have some different ideas about different pieces of the course. But I can get you syllabi from the last time these classes have run. And it's at least going to give you an idea of what to expect. It might not be exactly what you see. Maybe it will be. Sometimes the courses just, they run, it's the same course that they've been doing for a year at this point. Sometimes that happens. But at the very least, even if it's different, the basics are going to be similar. The objectives, at least, are going to be similar. The things they want you to learn and how they're going to get there. The book may be similar. There's always going to be something you can glean from those course syllabi. So if you want something early, let me know. Graduate work itself, I would also anticipate in these courses, make time, expect to spend 20 to 30 hours a week on the 600 level courses. probably 15 to 20 or more on the 500 level courses. This is not every class. It's not every facet of every class. But graduate work can be intense. There's a lot of reading. There's a lot of writing. There's a lot of thinking. There's a lot of preparation to make sure that when you are expressing yourself on the discussion boards or otherwise, that you've got all your ducks in a row. You've got your sources. You've got your citations. There's a lot that goes into it. You may find that some courses feel like a lot less than that to you because you know this stuff. It may seem there are some courses where that's going to be right on because it's a new and unexplored area for you. But anticipate it that way. Build that kind of time into your schedule because you don't want to get caught unawares. Order your book early if applicable. Again, the bookstore tends to come online a month before classes start. Our next term is March the 8th, so February the 8th. You are probably going to get an email from me or from Emily saying that the bookstore is open. Take a look early. Make sure that way you have the time to get the book ordered and shipped. If there's a book back ordered or there's an error in the book in the purchase, or you need some time to scrape some money together. Hey, times are tough, and you need to make sure that you've got the $50 or whatever to get the book, or sometimes more than that, frankly. But make sure that you know what you need, so you give yourself the time to get it. And contact your advisor for information. We know a lot. Not to toot our own horn, but we know a lot, and we're on your side. We want to see you be successful. So ask. We're going to be calling to check on you, but don't wait for us to call you. Get in touch with us. We want to see you be successful. And, maybe we can help, maybe we can't, but we definitely can't help if we don't know there's a problem. Okay, policies and procedures. We have a drop add period that ends Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern time of week 1 every term. After Friday at 5, you can no longer drop your class. You can no longer be added into a class. Military students, you get slightly longer than that, but you should still anticipate that have yourself locked in for the term or not by Friday of week 1. Grad classes especially move very fast. So if we're adding you on Friday of week 1, be prepared to hit the ground running. Confirmation of enrollment or grade cards online at post.edu. That is the main email address for the registrar's office. They are the keeper of all records. They're the distributor of all records. Emily and I cannot send you a list of grades and classes. We cannot send you receipts or invoices. None of that stuff flows through us. We can facilitate, as always. But online at post.edu, those are the people who keep all the records for the school. Those are the folks that can help you out, making sure your employer knows or the military knows that you are enrolled in school, or if they need grades to make sure that they'll pay for your education, whatever arrangement you guys have put together, online at Post. Invoices come from student accounts via student finance. If you have not already spoken with your financial advisor, you will soon. Gabriel and Carissa are our 2 main ones. Their email addresses are down below there. And then Chris Fusco, if you've been around a while or been here before, you may know him. He is the director of the department. So he doesn't deal directly with students as often, but he is absolutely there and happy to help. Great guy. They can help put together invoices that includes tuition prices, things you paid, all that. Registration, work with your ASC. That's me. We're going to talk about registration a lot, but we want to make sure that there's a path in place for you. Me personally, I think, I don't mean to speak for Emily, but I think she feels the same way. I want to try and lift as many administrative boulders out of your way as possible. I want you to be able to see the path from A to B. All right, so if I can get you registered early, I want to be able to do it. If I can look out 3 terms, I want to talk to you about that and show you, hey, here's what I have coming up in term 2, 3, and 4 for you. And that way you can come back to me and say, you know what? No, I'm sorry. I'm going to be in Barbados in term 3. I'm not taking a class while I'm sitting on the beach. I say, okay, well, now we've got the time to work around that. So talk to me, work with me. You have that button in your post-student portal that you can manipulate some of that stuff yourself, but talk to us and we'll make sure that we are both on the same page. Okay, a 4.0 GPA is required to graduate with distinction. At the grad level, there are not Latin honors, the cum laude, magna cum laude, summa cum laude, that you may have seen or may have graduated with in your bachelor's level. Those don't exist in grad school. However, if you get a perfect 4.0 GPA, that is a straight A in every class, you'll graduate with distinction, and that is listed on your diploma. TA, tuition assistance, that's a military thing for students who are getting their education paid for by the Army. TA paperwork must be submitted each term. For the military, and employer reimbursement is the same way. Very rarely are there students who can apply for more than one class at a time, but that's something that we're going to be doing with you guys constantly. We have classes that start every 8 weeks, so every 8 weeks we are making sure that you've got your TA, your invoicing, whatever it is that you need to get your finances taken care of. But that is an ongoing conversation with us. Every term connect with your finance office to ensure classes are covered. Gabriel, Carissa, Chris Fusco, those are their direct email addresses. And again, Emily and I don't generally handle the financial end of things. I can speak for myself personally. I know just enough to get you in trouble. Don't trust me. Trust Gabriel. Trust Carissa. Trust Christopher. Okay. And that brings us to the end of our presentation. I know that was a lot of information. If you have questions about any of it, you can contact me. Again, my name is Alan. You can email me, adpadvisor@post.edu, or my personal email, akingsley@post.edu. That is AKINGSLEY@post.edu. All right. I hope that this was helpful. I hope it was informative. And I hope I didn't talk too fast. I have a tendency to do that. But I really appreciate your time and sticking with me to the end of the presentation. Good luck. And welcome to Post University.